This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. With me is Michael Gallini. Mike, I always have trouble saying that. Your auto shop?
It's everybody. Everybody has a problem with it. But yeah, it's your auto shop. So like the European way.
That whole European. I love how it works. It's EURAUTO in Plano, Texas. Good to have you here, Michael.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I saw the recently moved pictures. You've got to come on Aftermarket Weekly and give us a tour, a virtual tour.
Of what part?
Your new place.
Oh, come on. I'm ready for it.
Oh, I know. I thought so. Thank you. Because AJ's been on too. He's given us a beautiful tour of his place. AJ Neely's Auto Service, Edgewater, Maryland. Hello, AJ.
What's up, Carm? Everyone else, good to be back on the show, and thanks for spelling my last name right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, trust me. I saw that it was wrong, and then I had to go back and fix it. And, I always do that. I know differently that there's an E after the L, and there's got to be some kind of pantamic poem that I could learn how to spell your name correctly, that there's an E after the L. But thank you for being here. Great supporter of the show. Chris Cotton, AutoFix SOS business coach. Good to have you here, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me. 2020's over. Thank goodness. 2021, off we go. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon.
Hey guys, let's pay homage to the people who make this possible for us. Shopware wants you to remind you to stop spending time chasing customers. Shopware's leading shop management system is helping shops just like yours generate more profit per ticket with a whole lot less time on the phone. Break away from your legacy system and implement a completely contactless workflow today. Get started. Go to the web at getshopware.com. And if you have realized that your marketing looks exactly the same as the shop down the road, well, your shop's different. And it really deserves marketing that's as unique as your shop is unique. That's the key there. Let shop marketing pros show your community just how different you are on the web at shopmarketingpros.com. Hey guys, maybe what we should do is talk a little bit about how this whole story came up. But I want to remind everyone, if you've got a question or two for our panel and you're on social media with us at all, love to have you chime in. We can see your comments. That would be a really cool thing. And maybe check in with the city that you're in, or type in hashtag I love Town Hall Academy. Hey, look, it was Chris and I on a podcast, and I think, Chris, it was sometime in May, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was you, me, and several other coaches. I don't know if it was a Town Hall Academy or what it was, and we were, March, April, May was when we were still trying to figure everything out. And,
that's right.
And you had all of us on, and we're talking about, okay, guys, we're going to grind it out. This is what we're going to do. And I'm sitting in the background listening to everybody else, and, all of us coaches are different, but we're all so similar in that we've done these things hundreds of times. And for some reason, the proof of concept popped into my head. And then I said it on the podcast, and everybody's like, even some of the other coaches were like, holy crap, what is that? And so in my mind, it's like, okay, we've done these things. We've coached these things. We've seen it work hundreds, if not thousands of times. And we know this to be true, that this will work if you'll just give it time, trust, and believe in the process and go.
Yeah, that was a great synopsis. And I have to tell you, that it impacted me so much that I started to talk about it a lot on subsequent shows after that. And I couldn't help but come up with, the words, the strong get stronger, that if you have been listening to your coach, to your 20 group, AJ, Michael, to your peer groups, to the associations, and all the stuff we're doing virtually today, and you're saying, same things. Everybody's talking about that. Everybody's doing that. Why am I not? And the proof of concept is if you were pre-pandemic, I bet you I can ask both of you, did you come out of it a little bit better than not?
Oh, completely. I mean, it's been phenomenal for us. So, yeah.
So, yeah. And I know, AJ, you've had a great year. I mean, you showed me your numbers. It's God almighty.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been extremely blessed, but it's true. I mean, it's not like we've never seen a downturn before. We know that history repeats itself in some way. Like you alluded to with our 20 group, we've surrounded ourselves with that network of other shop owners that not only are they just great shop owners, but they're great leaders, right? And so, what's the common denominator between all of these? And there's a lot of ways that you can continuously invest in yourself, empty your purse into your head with just great knowledge in leadership and best practices and things of that sort. And you got to continually cultivate that. So when crap does hit the fan, you're ready to go. You can, again, the saying I love is the Navy SEALs credo, right? You don't rise to the level of your expectations. You fall to the level of your training. So if that's the way you do business, then when things go haywire, you're ready to go.
Can we put that at the top of the list, guys? I mean, let's go back. All this training that we needed, and you brought up a great, if you will, a common denominator for success, AJ, and that was leadership. Who's going to leadership training? Who's taking leadership training? You couldn't miss quality virtual leadership training since March of last year. I'll bet you there were 30 to 40 different topics with at least 20 coaches, all bringing that culture, leadership, marketing, point of sale, social media, pay plans, the value of income statements and KPIs. And so, okay, well, you can look at the collection of podcasts that I've done, almost 900, and what we did all of last year. You could read countless articles that have come out in magazines. And what did you do? Did you discount them? Did you throw them off to the side? Did you say, I'm in total deniability mood. That won't matter to me. I'll be okay. I'll come out fine. Can't someone realize that as an industry, we're trying to lift all ships? We wouldn't be sharing. We wouldn't be caring. We wouldn't be doing a show called Proof of Concept because we know it works. So guys, I guess what we want to do is some hammer time here. Let's just talk about some topics, bring your experiences to play, and maybe we can carry 20 more people over the line by listening to, if you will, these proof of concepts or rants, whatever we want to call this. We may just call this thing a rant show. Get off your and do this.
It may well be, but Carm Hayes, first of all, I want to say, thank you to you. And one thing that I think we've done really, really well as an industry, it was propping each other up in the beginning. The coaches, everybody, the training, WorldPack, everybody that went out there and put everything out there. The amount of sharing last year was phenomenal. And I think if the restaurant industry would have done the same thing and other industries would have done the same thing, a lot of those people would have had completely different outcomes. So I want to say thank you to everybody.
You bring up such a great point. The point is competition. We look too anally, if you will, on our local competitors. And, my God, that's bad news. My secret sauce, I won't share it with you. The ones that do, phenomenal friends. They're friends in co-opetition. I did a rant on my year-end personal broadcast to the industry talking about this exact thing. Go have coffee with someone down the road. If you're successful, who needs a race, another person who's racing to the bottom, right? AJ, Michael, we don't need any of that. But it seems that the restaurants love to, have better food than the next.
It's like there's a big secret, maybe.
Well, there is no big secret.
There is no secret, though. I mean,
there's zero secrets in this industry.
Yep.
And I'd go on for an hour if I could on why I believe that's true, but then so will you guys. AJ, culture. I mean, to me, in a business, if there is proof of concept, to me, I think at the top of the list is culture and leadership.
Yeah, it's, again, we talk about that common denominator of good leadership is cultivating an incredible culture, right? It starts at the top, it trickles down into your employees, and then it's also just projected to your customers. And that's how you get those raving fans. So, one of the great books I harp on definitely is that book, Traction, right? It's the entrepreneurial operating system. And one part of that wheel, the spoke of that wheel, is developing the culture, understanding what your core purpose is, your core values, your big, hairy, audacious goal, the whole 9 yards. And then that needs to be, again, announced to your entire company, right? Get them on board, get buy-in. and so as you and again, you hire and fire that way, right? So you want to make sure that you've got people that work for you that align with those core values. So of course, Barry Barrett, he's the EOS implementer, so he knows all that as well. But and so as a result, again, we hire the correct people. It trickles down, and so if the captain's calm, the crew is calm. So when stuff was really again going downhill, there was no talks of layoffs. There was no talks of doom and gloom. It was all positive, all energetic. Let's get this going. We know what we can do to get through this.
So I would really like to, and that's great, AG. I'd like to get back to kind of Michael for a minute and let him tell his story about where he was 2 years ago, what happened last year, and kind of how we got there, what we did.
Well, it's been interesting just kind of listening to you guys talk about, the start and being open-minded as I say it. And I'm a big believer in being completely transparent, when it comes to my employees, when it comes to everybody. And I just got to a point to where I was completely stagnant. I couldn't get over, I want to say it was like 40,000. I couldn't have a month over 40,000. I kept searching and searching and searching. It led me to a few different groups and to a few different coaches and so on and so forth. And I got to the point where I just started reaching out. Our first year in sales, when we were at the small location, I want to say we were the 250-ish mark for all in. The first year, not even the first full year, Chris, I don't think it was that I was with you. We did a little over 500, and then ending this year, we've pretty much doubled our goal or doubled our sales. We did a little over $1 million a year. But the one thing that I learned more importantly is just to not let no come out of your mouth. When you have your peers, when you see people on different groups and so on and so forth, that's what's allowed me to grow, is because I don't know everything. It's like I tell my employees all the time, like, I can't do what I've done by myself. And it's a combined effort, from my peers, from my employees, my coaches, everything, it comes so much deeper. But yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy ride for us. And, I always tell people, if you're interested in it, you just need to say yes, like commit 3 months to nothing but yes, 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 and see where it goes. But you'll also get a bit, I got a whole bunch of kickback from other people in the industry that haven't been here and haven't done it. And we're completely blown away that you're letting somebody else tell you what to do with your business. This is your business. This isn't their business. But it's been tremendous for us.
That's a great question, AJ. Is that what you hear in your groups? That you would, or in circles, you'd let a coach tell you what to do?
Well, gosh, we wouldn't be here without it. I mean, John Waffler, he's our facilitator in our Bottom Line Impact group. He before I was even qualified, because my sales were so little, it was literally just my wife and I that worked behind our house in a little one bay garage. And I literally just picked up a photo that was 5 years ago. We were in that little one bay garage, and we knew that this business was going to be what we wanted to just sustain us towards the future. And again, same thing like you, Mike. I was just kind of researching to figure out what group can I get connected with that's going to help me grow. I knew everything there was about cars, but not everything I know about a business. And so to get hooked up with taking RLO's Guerrilla Shop Management course, going through that ladder, John Waffler just holding our hand as a personal mentor for a few months before I got into a group. It like you just experienced, Mike. It was literally 100% growth year after year, and just to see where we've come to where we're at today, you need to be that group process is absolutely instrumental to feed off one another, to understand best practices, because we're all on the same ship, right? We're all anywhere and everywhere all over the country, but we're all in the same ship, especially with this pandemic, and to deal with those issues and understand what's working, what's not working, it's instrumental. It's needed.
So, AJ, I've got a question for you. I don't know if you noticed the same as I did, but when I first started asking about coaching in different groups and so on and so forth, and it's kind of like we were talking earlier about this not being a secret, the thing that I experienced was it was a secret. I'd reach out to different people and I'd ask different people, hey, I know that you're part of this group. Can you give me some information about it? And all of a sudden it was just this big closed off secret. And I happened to run across somebody that opened up to me about it. And that's really what led me to the group that I'm part of. But that was my experience from the very beginning. But you're right. It does seem like since 2020 has come, it's not a secret. If you can't talk to a shop that's next door to you about marketing strategies, then what I've learned is they're flatlined and flatlined only.
I would agree. So I really didn't know any other shop owners that were kind of in a group, right? I didn't even know that coaches existed. I just happened to pick up a random copy of Ratchet and Wrench. I saw them in there in an article. I'm like, homie, this aligns with what I want to do, right? And I literally just sent them an email. I got a follow-up call, and that was the start of that journey. So yeah, for me, it was just my own curiosity to figure out, like, I'm sure there's a way I can just improve my business. And that, again, like Chris said, thank you to Carm, because, honestly, when I really started to kind of go up this path, you didn't exist really as far as your podcasts. And so for you to be out there out front and just throwing out so much, having this plethora of media and topics that are out there that pertain to us is absolutely huge. But also too, I think that we're harping and we're on this pedestal talking to others that are also on pedestals because they wouldn't spend the time watching and listening to these podcasts, right? It's really a matter of trying to get out of this bubble that we're in and try to affect the shops that have no idea that we exist, that there is this culture and that this group exists of other shop owners. And so I think that's the main goal.
Thank you for that. And let me spend 1 minute on that. I always tell people, listen, if you're finding a certain level of success, share the podcast with someone who isn't. They may not know the question to ask. And if they want a private networking group because they're not comfortable in a bigger group, then they can have a private networking group with the almost 900 episodes. There isn't a topic we've probably not covered for the moment in time. I mean, every year changes. We talk about new and different things. This year is going to be a movement of youth apprenticing, succession in many of the episodes that we're dealing with, because that's what's going on now. I don't want to talk about a technician shortage. I don't want to talk about the lack of quality hires. I want to tell people how to start growing their own. And maybe we'll look back in 5 years and say, Chris, proof of concept, you had to start bringing on apprentices.
Right. So I want to go back for just a minute. I heard either Carm or AJ or somebody say, your coach gets on there and tells you how to run your business. That couldn't be further from the truth. I share with my clients what I know works. And from my experience, I know this will work and it will help you out. Now, the quicker you buy in, the more you say yes, the sooner we'll get to there and be successful. And I remember Michael and I had a lot of hard conversations about the naysayers around him that were like, hey, this guy's an idiot. Don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Those people have never met me before in their life. So they don't have a clue where I've been and what I've done. But again, we're not, as coaches, ramming it down your throat, or at least I don't. And I hope that the others aren't. We're sharing what we know works with you, hence the proof of concept. We know it works, so we share it.
Well, let's think about this, guys. How many coaches either fire their client or the client fires them because either the client doesn't want to be held accountable for what it really takes to get to the next level, or the coach says, hey, I'm wasting their money. And they're never, I mean, why would they do? Check the box to say I have a coach like my buddy down the street has, and I'm still not going to do anything about it? Why would you waste the money?
Yeah, there's a comfortability level there, right? And change is hard. Change is hard for a lot of people. And gosh, I mean, I was very malleable when I really started this because I didn't know anything. I was extremely naive to it. So yeah, I was that person who just said yes, 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 yes. And there's no silver bullet, but here's our best practices. If you implement these things, there will be an improvement in your business, in your day-to-day life. You're going to get more time off. Those print advertisements of having a coach of you sitting on the beach enjoying time, yes, that can exist if that's what your goal is, right? So to know that that those are all possibilities. Again, you need that buy-in, you need that attitude, you need the want to change. And if you're just not that kind of person, it's going to be hard. It just is.
Hey guys, wait for 1 minute. Let me give another great shout out to our great sponsors that bring you this show. Shopware wants you to wow your customers still while keeping your distance, even while staying 6 feet apart. Shopware's innovative tech will help you move cars through safely and efficiently. Completely digital workflow allows customers to review, approve, and pay for repairs all in one place. Request a demo at getshopware.com. And are you tired of your cookie cutter website? Well, is it bringing you new clients? Let our friends at Shop Marketing Pros create a website that is as unique as your shop. I think you hear the theme, unique, right? On the web at shopmarketingpros.com. Aftermarket Weekly is now a podcast wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Even all mine that are your favorites. Just search for Aftermarket Weekly, and now the guest host and all their great stuff in the shop tour, virtual shop tour through audio. AJ, you sent something to me that I loved. You talked about implementing the slow day action plan. And to me, the proof of concept is to have a slow day action plan.
Yep, definitely an item that we talk about in our groups. Understanding that again, pre-pandemic, just understand there's going to be times seasonally, whatever might be, lack of marketing. I don't know, not getting people in the door, but trying to also just keep your guys busy, right? That idle time is just killer to the morale of your team. They want to stay busy. So just having that list of drywall, paint. We redid all the shop floors in both the buildings that we have here in March and April. So having these other tasks to keep the guys busy, keep giving them a paycheck, keeping them employed, and just knowing that as stuff was really going on down around them, maybe they knew loved ones that were losing jobs, that they knew that with us that they weren't, that they were going to have something to do every day and have that purpose to get up and come to work and have a smile on their face.
Well, and I think that's great, AJ. But the other thing that plays into that, I think, is it sounds like you were on great financial footing that you could afford to buy the material to replace the flooring. And I mean, I don't know your specific situation, but you were, able and capable to do that for your employees. And you have to be, on a good footing with profits and cash flow in order to do that.
Certainly. That is the oxygen that lives off of your business. So that's again, a ground level, it's a foundational item that any business needs to work on.
A proof of concept, rainy day fund, 3 or 4 or 5 months worth of whatever that number is to sustain a business, no matter what. Who would have ever thought? And if a coach doesn't have a plan for creating that for their client, I think that would be a mistake. Chris, are you talking that a lot?
We're talking to it constantly. And I'm going to bang on Michael here for just a minute because we talked about it for a lot longer than he actually started implementing it. But yeah, you have to first make sure you're profitable, and then 2, have a process. Again, processes and procedures, proof of concept. What do we do? How do we handle our money? What's our labor margin profit, our parts margin profit? Those are processes and procedures. You may not have them written down, but that's a process. So, yeah.
So, Michael, it's your turn. He just dropped you.
He just dropped me.
He says, "Hey, tell us about your rainy day fund."
I think is what he's, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Chris. We're talking about profit first,
Yeah.
and implementing different ways of being able to have that, not necessarily the cash flow, but to have the cash flow in the right places for when times like a pandemic does happen. It's something that it took me, oh my goodness, a year.
Yeah, we talked about it for a year before we got it done.
I guess it took us a year of talking about it before it was there. But I mean, I sat on the bank accounts for 3 months, I think, 4 months with, just the minimum requirement of being able to open the account was. But yeah, I mean, it's something that's been, I can't say it's been phenomenal for us because it's been something that has just started, but it's that secureness that I have with myself, with my family, with the guys out in the shop, and even the guys up front. It's almost numbless anymore. You don't necessarily have to think about it.
Yeah, if you're talking about the book profit first, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. We implemented that same bank account method We started that about a year ago. Yeah, so we set up all the accounts. I have my off-site bank accounts too, where I put my tax money and my profit money, and it's not even on my Mint feed, with all that link, all my bank accounts. So I don't even know it exists. Of course, I know the money's there, but it just makes it very hard to touch. So if anyone knows of that book, Profit First by Mike Michalowicz.
Mikalowicz. Let me say it right. Let me say it right. Yeah, I interviewed Mike.
Yeah.
I interviewed Mike Mikalowicz, episode 421. You got to go listen to it. He's a fun guy, and it was a real fun episode to do. I consumed the book, and then I reached out to him and says, "Hey, can I interview you?" Now he's got some automotive aftermarket in his background. I think with his father-in-law, and when I go back to the proof of concept, Chris, Michael, AJ, we almost have to add the concepts of Profit First, the rainy day fund, the segmenting of money into something that is as critical going forward. If there was going to be, that 12 critical, most important list: marketing, customer service, POS, social media, DVI, pay plans, income statement, culture. It's segmenting of your money needs to be one of them. I look back at the years that I've been doing this. As I said, nearly 900 episodes. We've covered every topic. Never been more important than have something so crushing to our economy, to our world, prove, which is why we're here, that those things needed to be. If you want to turn your business around, you've got to listen to these things. You've got to listen to your peers. You've got to get connected with someone. You've got to hire a coach. Can't afford to hire a coach. Chris, how many times have people said that to you?
People say it quite often, but typically, not even typically, one of our goals is to make sure early and often that we're able to provide value to the client. And one of the ways we do that is make sure that, we're increasing cash flow and doing things like that so they can afford us. But the other thing is you can't afford not to. I've never had anybody contact me that hired us that's gone out of business, but I sure know a hell of a lot of people that never contacted us that did go out of business. So, I'll put that for you guys right there. You're not, if you're in a hole, if you're in trouble, if you've given up, when you call me, I have enough hope for everybody. So I'm going to pull you towards the finish line.
Hey, we got a great comment from Doug Hunter about Profit First. Thank you for that. Tommy Nicholson, implementation is crucial for concepts that work for any business. Thank you. I mean, the proof is here. The success is here. It works. We just have to implement. And I think that's the big word, right, AJ?
Well, I was going to also mention too, just kind of harping back on the cash flow and that, again, being the oxygen of your business. But any business is like a three-legged stool, right? One part of that stool is your, of course, your marketing and sales. The other part of that stool is the production, actually getting that work done in the shop. And then 3 is the HR and the finance. If you don't have that foundation of sound financing for your business, the thing will fall apart and you won't have a stool to stand on, sit on. So just another thing to kind of keep in mind as far as proof of concept.
And I think that's great. I kind of have like a 3 things that as a shop owner, once you're stepping back away from the business, or not away from it, but not actively working in it every day and working on it, the leaders responsible for 3 things. They're responsible for car count, they're responsible for their internal customers, which is their employees, and we have to make sure that they're on a good enough financial footing that the employees don't ever show up to work and there's a big sign on the door saying, hey, we're out of business. So I think matches up with yours perfectly almost. So I think that's awesome.
So guys, what's the problem for implementation? Do I need a coach? Listen, I listened to a show, a podcast. I read an article. I totally get it. I agree. I need to do this. Why? What is it that we can't implement?
There's not one thing you can't implement. I think a lot of the issues are either misguided belief systems and or the inability to say yes. Like Michael said, he just said yes, and look how it's worked out for him.
Michael, I don't mean to interrupt you, Chris,
no,
but
it's fine.
Michael, let's drive into that a little bit. Take us to the day if you could be as transparent as you can when you said, I got to cross this line?
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess is what I can. Probably the best place to start is, I was sitting upstairs with my wife. We were watching a movie, and I think I'd already spoke to Chris, and she's like, well, what do you want to do? This is kind of scary in a way. It's a lot of money. What do you want to do? And I looked at her and I said, we only live once. Let's give it a try. And she's like, okay, so, what's your commitment to it? And I said, well, the way I look at it is we have a credit card, and if we've got to put it on here for a while to see what it does for us, worst case scenario, we go back to where we were. We knew what we were doing, but let's give it a shot. And I said, I'm going to say yes to everything that I can for the next 3 months, and there's not going to be a no that comes out of my mouth unless it's something that I just plain flat can't afford to do.
Okay, so your say yes was to the concepts,
To the concepts
and the business principles and practices that Chris wanted you to go through.
Absolutely, because I'm one person. I see one side of, or at that point, I only saw one side of the business, and it was what I was doing for myself, not what others were doing to be more profitable, to sustain growth, to go through growth, because that wasn't me. So I saw one side of it, and the only thing that I knew is if I listened to others and I applied what was being told to me, the only thing I could hope for is that we won, and not necessarily won, but that we were able to grow and we were able to be to where I wanted to be, what my dreams were, what my envision was. So I did. I really went into it. And Chris, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if I said no to anything. I mean, I'll never forget the first day of really implementing the different systems that we did. And all of a sudden I'm running around with my head cut off. I'm like calling Chris. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And he's like, do this, do this. Okay. So, the word yes came out of my mouth a whole lot.
Well, and I would say, a lot of shop owners that are technicians, they get to a point to where they're like, I'm doing this by myself in a shop, and now I've added employees, and I would say probably without a doubt, all shop owners are hustlers, right? That's why they're shop owners. So they go from, I was turning 60 hours a week and working 40 and making $100,000 plus a year. And now I'm working 100 hours a week, making $10,000 a year. What went wrong? And they get to the point to where they're ready to give up and do something. And that's when they reach out and call. The one thing that I would say is Michael said yes, and there's some stuff, there are some must-dos in there as well. Michael had a website, but it was underperforming. So on top of me asking him for money to pay for me and my services and everything that's associated with that, I have to go to him and be like, hey, your website's okay. I appreciate you having one, but it sucks. Let's get a better one and move on, because we can pull in more customers and it'll pay for itself. But again, I have to have you believe in me that I know what I'm doing and that will work. And so, websites are like tattoos. You can get a $20 tattoo and have one, or you can get a $2,000 tattoo and have a really good one. But anyway, he said yes, and there, along the way, the yeses, and I think he's underselling kind of what he did a little bit. We went from a shop that in less than 18 months went from $300,000 a year to $1 million a year. We also switched locations with him and hired more people than he's ever had to deal with before. And we got rid of an underperforming service advisor and got, like top of the rung. And then now he has an assistant. So, I mean, we've come a long way.
Come a long, long way.
AJ, a question to you. We know your story. You've been on the show, the garage at the house, you and the wife. When was it that you said, hey, I need some advice, some help?
It was my wife as my first employee was really the impetus to that, because prior to that, I had a garage behind my house. I was the one-man show. I worked on the cars. I sold the work. I picked up the parts. I did everything. I knew that wasn't sustainable long-term, but it also afforded me to create my own schedule. I did a bunch of other extracurricular activities, but again, it really wasn't until, I married my wife, Stephanie, that I realized, all right, she's going to be my first employee. And anyway, when I met too, she lived in Long Beach, California. I somehow convinced her to relocate all the way over here here to Maryland, and they say, hey, we're going to do this crazy thing. We're going to just start this auto repair business and really try to take this thing off. So that's when I got in touch with RLO training, and then that's where boom, it just blew up. I mean, yeah, when we started the first full year with just her and I, same thing. It was about $330,000 a year, and we just about doubled it every year. And so this will be year 5 at this point, and we just ended the year at 1.83 million. So it's like it's unbelievable growth. But like you said, Mike, you got to say yes. You got to have the attitude. You got to have great help. And back to your question, Carm, as far as do you need a coach? You can go at it alone, but why blaze your own trail? Why make your own mistakes? You could literally reduce that time of trying to make all those mistakes on your own, which could take decades, versus learn from the coach and others of other shop owners around you in a great environment, and reduce the amount of mistakes and just all towards growth.
I can't help but think, is it because I'm stubborn? Is it because I want to say I did it my way? What blocks people, AJ?
That's a good question. There's and we've all met them. There's a lot of different types of shop owners, and it's not just shop owners. It's also just business ownership in general. And nothing irks me more inside me having a conversation with another business owner, complaining about their customers, complaining about their employees. Well, we always say too, if it weren't for the employees and the customers, it'd be really easy, right? So this isn't a new concept, right? So this is what. There isn't a business without both of those things, employees and great customers. So nothing irks me about those that just complain about business ownership. Well, to me, you just don't have the drive or want to improve yourself or make your life better or figure out a way for it to not suck, right? So either embrace the suck and move on and grow, or relent and just complain all the time, and that's it.
So here it is. AJ and Michael would be very happy to hire a CEO of a business right now that isn't happy and would rather, like Chris says, go back to turning, being paid for 40, turning 60, right? I mean, why go through all the hassle to learn to be a CEO when you just go back to turn wrenches?
And some people procedure that way. Yeah.
And frankly, not everyone was made to be a business owner.
Exactly.
They jumped in it and said, oh my God. And we're dealing with those shops that are out there that are saying, oh, you don't want to go to Neely's, you don't want to go to Michael's place because they're going to rip you off. My labor rate's $55. I don't know, his is $130. Can't you see you'll save money by coming here?
Well, and so this is the statement that's going to get me in trouble right here. I guarantee it. We'll see what the comments are. But back to AJ's. You're in your shop and you're sitting there and you're like, there's not one other person anywhere in the world that knows what I'm dealing with, what I'm going through, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling you right now, that's your biggest mistake. You're in your own bowl. The reason you can't see outside of it or see that somebody else has an answer is because you're working so hard every day in your business, you can't get outside your business. You're a guppy in a fishbowl, and I swim with sharks every day. I've had clients from Maine to California, Canada to Puerto Rico. I've had one circumstance in the last 5 years that I haven't seen before, and that was the NAACP review of all things. But that's not for here now. But I'm telling you, the coaches, the other people in the industry, your peers out there have seen pretty much everything that you do and go through. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Just because you're in it and can't see it doesn't mean that somebody else can't.
Hey guys, let's do our final segment here, okay? Let's give, again, homage to our great sponsors. Do you know what's as easy as 1, 2, 3? Well, ShopWare's shop management system allows customers to review, approve, and pay for repairs all in one place. Keep your staff and your customers safe while maintaining profits and keeping your customers happy. Learn more at getshopware.com. And does your social media truly represent your shop, or is it just plain vanilla generic posts? It doesn't have to be that way. The experts at Shop Marketing Pros listen and create social content that connects you to your community. on the web at shopmarketingpros.com. God, thank you so much for the sponsors for being here. Don't forget, appreciate all the great social media comments that we have had. In fact, here it is. AJ, there's Joe. He's with us today. Isn't that cool? And what's really neat is at 2:30 Eastern time today, I'm going to moderate a PAVE panel. You know, PAVE is doing 3 days of training. I'm going to, as soon as I'm done here, I'll post it back up on Facebook, the link to this open forum today. We're going to have a 3-lady panel on, and it's sponsored by Napa Car Care, by the way. The topic is what makes your shop unique. And then tomorrow at 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern, again, Joe Hansen is here. He's going to be on the panel. We're going to talk about expense control. God, we talk about margins and we talk about sales all the time, but we're going to talk about expenses tomorrow at 2:30. So thanks for being here, Joe. And hey, Chris, thanks for bringing this topic. In fact, I did feel this thing became a little bit of a rant and a little bit of a, you know, and I think that's good. And I think it's healthy to be able to hear from people in our industry that came up through the School of Hard Knocks. And they're going to go back and say, hey, yeah, I may have done it wrong, but I finally got it right.
Well, and I think what you heard from the other two people was say yes, and they have passion for their business. And I would say that both of these owners really love doing what they're doing. And now they found a way to do it, and a great way to do it. How can you get better than that? I mean, what's better than working on your business instead of in your business, having employees that are happy and healthy and able to get everybody through?
I love the fish analogy, the fishbowl. Thank you. I don't think you got into trouble for that.
Okay. Well, I don't think I went as deep as I was going in my head, but that's fine. I had to rein back just a little bit. Yeah. Frankly,
you and I have had that discussion before, and I do think you tempered it. Yes.
Yeah. I held back, so that's good.
Hey, AJ, give us a final summary on this. Is something that you wanted to cover?
You know, nothing really specifically, honestly. The success stories exist. They are out there, and like Chris alluded to, you know, those one-man bands of single shop owners, those that don't have that network of other shop owners around them. You're right that they think that they're in their own world, in their own bubble, and they don't know a way out. But we are that source, and it is kind of up to us to, again, just something as simple as sharing a podcast to them, or just lending out and extending a hand to help and improve this industry. Because I'm telling you, you know, we've now proven that not only is auto repair recession proof, but it's also now pandemic proof. So if anything, we're just adding value to this industry as a whole. I mean, we should be extremely proud to have gotten through, you know, such a year, and to see that we're, you know, I kind of predict 2021 as being the inverse of what 2020 was. So I really think that we're going to get back to some real normalcy by, like, say, September timeframe. So things are looking up, and you know, ask for help, and you'd be so surprised too. Again, if you don't find someone that's willing to help, well, that's just not the person you need to be associated with anyway. You are the average of the top 5 people you hang out with. Hang out with better people, you'll be a better person.
What a great story! And by the way, I love what you said. We're essential, and I think the message. Some of us used the message to our benefit by telling our customers we're essential, and by reminding our people we're essential. And to me, what a confidence builder for what it is that we do. And to your point, AJ, there's probably nothing we can't get through now that we've been through something with this much gravity to it.
Yeah, you know, and just the things that we were able to change and implement to just accommodate our customers, right? Offering the touchless experience, the free pickup and drop off, you know, of course, requiring the masks in the office, like all those things. And, you know, we've even gotten reviews from customers thanking us for making those changes. It's adding some comfort and ease for them to come in and do business with us. They know that we're on top of it. We're not ignoring all these things. So, again, anything you can do, and again, not everything is going to work, right? If you say yes to everything, you're not going to have 100% success. So, but understanding what is working, what isn't working, changing, always change, embrace the change. It is healthy long term.
Excellent. Hey, Michael, your first podcast with me. Thank you so much for being here. Wow,
Well, thank you for having me. I
You did
really
great.
appreciate it.
By the way, he was very, very nervous.
Oh yeah, you guys have no clue.
You did great. Any final words, analogy at all?
I think the one thing that I kind of want to touch on that I feel like I kind of implement for myself is it's not why you're different, it's how you're different. And I feel like to be how is more of your actions. It's who you are, as a business owner. It's more of how you are as a boss to your employees, and just understanding that, it's how you're different. It's not why you're different, because everybody can tell you why they're different, but how is more of an action deal for me. And I always go back to that. It's not why I'm different, because I can tell you why I'm different. Look at how I'm different. Look at what I do for you. And it's evolving. It's changing with what the market is, with our economy, with the, going through a recession or going through a pandemic or whatever. It's how you're different, and it's what makes you different.
You got a fan, Tommy Nicholson? Do you know him?
Don't know.
Hey, Tommy, good to see you. It's been a while.
Okay, AJ, all right, great. I love when we get together. It's family on
Same to Joe.
Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, thanks for bringing this topic to me. Thanks for being passionate about this. I'll give you the last word.
Honestly, I think I pretty much said most of what I wanted to say.
Okay,
but hang on. You know me, I'm full of words, so I'm gonna pivot out of that and go to something else. One, if everybody's out there, if for some reason this is your first time on something that Carm has produced, go to remarkableresults.biz, and if you go in the search bar and type in service advisor, coaching, or something like that, it'll bring up hours worth of watching and listening for you. So I'm going to challenge you to do that. If you're looking for service advisor training, whatever else, pop it in there, do it. Also, because what AJ said, it's recession proof and everything else like that, we're seeing all kinds of new people that want into the auto repair industry. And I think, I know Carm and I put one in the can about getting into the industry from new. I don't know when that's going to hit or whatever, but
it'll be out soon. We have a great one in the can. Yeah. Yep. Well, no, thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate that. Yeah, Chris and I have a podcast in the can about brainstorming about getting into the industry. By the way, who mentioned traction? AJ. AJ mentioned traction. I have a books page on the website, remarkableresults.biz/books, or you can find it on the tab there. That book is available there. Of course, Barry Barrett, great friend of the show. I got to get Barry on. We got to do some more talking about that. Mike McColowitz's book, Profit First, is up there. Of course, you can type in any topic that you want, and thanks for that. Thanks for that, Chris. So, hey, what a way to start out. Is this the first Friday? Yeah, this is the first Friday show of 2021. I think we nailed it. Appreciate you being here.
It's second, but that's fine.
It took off the first. Yeah. New Year's Day was the first one, but it's all right.
But we didn't do a show on the first.
Yeah. So this is the first.
This is your first show, correct?
Yeah.
This is well, I did one, but I did it in December. So let's thread a fine needle here, everyone.
Tomato. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, Chris Cotton, AutoFix, SOS, AJ Neely, Neely's Auto Service, Edgewater, Maryland, and Michael Galini, Your Auto Shop, Plano, Texas. Did I say that right, Michael?
You did. Absolutely did.
Hey guys, have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for being here.
You guys as well.
Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.